Annie dreamed of getting rid of her unusual adornment. If her face were like that of other women, she would not have to endure pitying glances and the ridicule of men. But fate had other plans. Her beard brought in a good income, and giving it up would mean losing stability. Annie Jones, born in 1865 in Virginia, grew up accustomed to curious stares and whispers. Even as an infant, her beard caught the attention of Circus impresario P.T. Barnum, who saw potential in the girl for his freak show. Driven by greed, her parents wasted no time in selling her to the show, and at just 9 months old, Annie became one of the main attractions of the traveling spectacle. Throughout her life, Annie cared for her beard with the same diligence as men who took pride in their appearance. She washed it with warm water, brushed it with a soft comb, and even experimented with styling, curling it in papillotes whenever she wanted a change. Contrary to stereotypes, her beard was not coarse and bristly but soft and silky, resembling fine fur. Yet behind this extraordinary trait lay deep suffering. Women looked at her with pity while men viewed her with scorn. Long before Annie, in the 16th century, society had already encountered bearded women. Helena Antonia, born in 1579 in Liège, faced a difficult choice at an early age. By the time she was 9, her face had begun to grow thick hair. Not a cause for parental concern about her future, but rather a problem they wished to be rid of. The child was handed over to Elector Ernst of Bavaria, who enjoyed surrounding himself with unusual people. However, even among dwarfs, giants, and other curiosities, Helena stood out. She was transferred to the Austrian Archduke and later to his wife, becoming part of the court retinue. She was trained in embroidery, music, dance, and reading. Yet, despite her education, she was still treated as a rarity, an exhibit in a collection. When the Archduke's daughter married the King of Poland, Helena traveled with her to Poland, where she was received quite differently than at court. In 1621, she was spotted at a freak show in Wrocław, where she endured cruel mockery and humiliation. Her beard was likened to a punishment for solitude, and the audience hurled merciless jokes she was forced to endure. After this, her trace disappears from history, leaving only portraits that capture her unusual appearance. Unlike her predecessors, Clémentine Delait managed to turn her peculiarity into an advantage. Born in France in 1865, she had to shave from a young age to hide her condition. At 20, she married a baker, moved to a town, and opened a small cafe with her husband. One day in 1900, she attended a traveling circus show and saw a performer with barely noticeable facial hair. This became a moment of revelation for her. If someone with a faint fuzz was called a bearded woman, then her thick beard could bring her much more. Clémentine took a chance and won. Her husband supported her bet, wagering 500 francs that his wife could grow a better beard than any circus act. Thus, the Bearded Woman's Cafe was born, quickly becoming a local attraction. Rumors about the unusual owner spread throughout the region, drawing not only curious onlookers, but also journalists eager to uncover her story. People came not just to see Clémentine, but to hear her stories, as she had a sharp mind and a great sense of humor. Over time, Clémentine made her beard an integral part of her image. She was attended to by a professional barber who maintained her facial hair as carefully as aristocratic women's hairstyles. Delait toured Europe, sold postcards featuring her image, and in 1904 even received official permission to wear men's clothing, an exceptional privilege at the time. But Annie, Helena, and Clémentine were far from the only women whose fates were intertwined with beards. One of the most famous in the 20th century was Grace Gilbert. Born in 1876, she suffered from hypertrichosis from childhood, which covered her face in thick, dark hair. Unlike many others, Grace did not hide her condition but embraced it as part of her identity. In the early 20th century, she joined a circus show, performing under the name America's Bearded Lady. Her vibrant personality and artistic talent made her an audience favorite. Grace did not merely display her appearance, she performed musical numbers, played the violin, and sang operatic arias. Her popularity allowed her to travel across the US and Europe, earn a respectable income, and live a comfortable life. The stories of bearded women illustrate how society has treated extraordinary individuals over the centuries. For some, it was a curse. For others, it was an opportunity to change their lives and achieve fame. Annie Jones became a victim of her parents, living a short life filled with humiliation and coercion. Helena Antonia was forced to balance between being a noble favorite and a sideshow exhibit. Meanwhile, Clémentine Delait found a way to turn her uniqueness into a source of income and respect. Today, as perceptions of female appearance become more flexible, the stories of bearded women from the past remind us of how fragile the line is between acceptance and condemnation. Perhaps in another era, Annie, Helena, and Clémentine could have lived without having to justify what nature had given them. We hope you enjoyed this story. Subscribe to the channel and see you in the next one.